What a save, the footballer who kept a teammate alive when he had a heart attack.
A man from Yate in South Gloucestershire is being called a hero after saving the life of his teammate during a game of football.
When 28-year-old Gary Iles' heart stopped twice during the game, his friend put his first aid skills into action. After 2 days in a coma, he's now recovering well. Ellie Louise Ringe went to meet the hero of the hour.
Dave Ford doesn't think he's a hero. Most people who witnessed a game of football here at Yate Leisure Centre last month would disagree. When teammate Gary Iles collapsed, Dave stepped in.
I knelt down alongside him, realised that he possibly wasn't breathing, and I told the guys to go and call an ambulance. So they ran off to go and call an ambulance. I knelt down next to him and I gave him, I started doing mouth to mouth. It was hardly textbook stuff. I did what I thought at the time, and I got home and explained to my wife, and I just burst into tears. And all the team, I think all the five-a-side team were affected. They all saw what was happening, and I think it was because it was a friend on the floor rather than just some guy on the street. It was a friend, and we were all shocked by it.
Gary is still recovering on Frenchay Hospital's cardiac ward. Back at the home he shares with partner Michelle Griffin, Christmas is on hold. The Advent calendar hasn't been opened since December the 16th, the day Gary collapsed.
We've been planning and planning our first Christmas in our first house. So when this happened to Gary, this was all put on hold, and when he comes out of hospital, we'll have a proper Christmas Day and New Year's big party here and have everybody round, and he can open his presents then.
And there's one man who'll now be at the top of the family's Christmas card list.
Basically, we can't thank him enough, because without his quick thinking and him keeping his head in obviously very stressful situation, Gary wouldn't be with us. So he's just delivered the best Christmas present anybody could ever ask for, because without him, Gary wouldn't be here.
I saw Michelle on the same night. I went in to see Gary, and she was full of thanks and praise and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
And how did that feel for you?
Oh, it made me feel proud of it. Yeah, it made me feel proud.
Gary should be out of hospital in the next few weeks and has promised to buy his teammate a pint. Ellie Louise Ringe in Yate for The West Tonight.
If you've ever played five-a-side football, you'll no doubt have got a little bit out of breath. But for one player in South Gloucestershire, it was a bit more serious than that. 28-year-old Gary Iles collapsed during a game in Yate and stopped breathing altogether. His heart stopped, and it was down to his teammates to save his life. Scott Ellis has the story.
It was a Sunday night knockabout with the lads, an indoor five-a-side game at Yate Leisure Centre that never got to full time. Gary Iles collapsed and probably would have died if it wasn't for his teammates, especially Dave Ford, back at the scene today with the centre duty manager.
So I went straight into the chest compressions.
16 years a TA soldier, he knew enough to give Gary the kiss of life and chest massage, training that saved a life.
All the guys were crowding around, they were shouting at Gary, "Come on, Gary, stay with it, stay with it." And it was a real team effort. But it wasn't until afterwards, like I say, that it really hit us, because it was a mate and he was down and he looked dead, and it was awful. And it was the most traumatic thing I've ever done.
From Yate Leisure Centre, Gary was brought here to Frenchay Hospital, but he was still having fits and seizures. The doctors decided to deliberately put him into a coma, telling the family that he may never wake up again. But 2 days later, Gary was back in the land of the living. Much to the relief of his family, of course, and his girlfriend. They just moved into a new house together. The presents will have to wait till Gary gets the all clear.
It just makes you realise when you nearly lose somebody that close to you, how important they are. So yeah, the material sort of side of Christmas doesn't make any difference at all.
This is Gary in Frenchay Hospital. He can't remember much about what happened on the 16th of December, unlike his teammates and his very grateful mum.
Without Dave, he wouldn't be here, and we've tried and tried to thank him in different ways, but we cannot think of anything that could repay what he's done. He'd give us back our son, and that's all there is to it.
Gary's undergoing tests and hopes to be home soon. After all, in this family, there's still Christmas to celebrate. Scott Ellis, BBC Points West, Yate.
Fit, but during a game of five-a-side football, Gary Iles from South Gloucestershire collapsed and very nearly died. He'd had a heart attack, but thanks to the quick thinking and medical skills of one of his teammates, he's now making a full recovery. Today, he returned to the sports hall in Yate, where it happened.
Yeah!
For now, football for Gary is playing with his 2-year-old niece. The last time he was here was a five-a-side friendly.
I don't remember coming to the game, playing the game. The only thing I know is waking up in Frenchay a few days after.
Gary had a heart attack, but teammate Dave Ford gave him CPR and saved his life.
You never forget it. Never. Can never thank him enough. As long as I live, you can never thank him enough.
There could have been damage to his brain. Because of how he reacted, he brought back the Gary that we knew, and he's back to his old self, and he's going to make a full recovery, and that's all down to Dave.
Football was just part of Gary's week, but he ended up in a coma. His family will never forget the moment he woke up.
It was just amazing. It really was. It was just an amazing feeling that he was there. And shortly after, Jean, his mum, arrived, and I said, he's awake, and we both burst into tears and both cried, and it was amazing though. It was really unforgettable feeling, it really was.
His quick thinking saved Gary's life, but Dave is modest about what happened.
He's a fighter, Gary is. You see it on the pitch when he's playing football, and I think he brought himself back.
For now, football is just child's play, and he's not sure when or if he'll play with his mates again. Tom Burridge, BBC Points West, in Yate.